The story opens inside a dimly lit motel room where Alice, a 30-year-old woman, receives a late-night phone call from her husband, Eric. It's 2 a.m. Eric greets her warmly, reminding her about an important appointment with their fertility doctor scheduled for that day. Alice, who works as a social media manager for a pharmaceutical company, assures him she's on her way back home after attending a company convention. But what Eric doesn't know is that Alice has been unfaithful, meeting with her colleague and close friend, John. As morning approaches, Alice and John quietly check out of the motel and continue their drive. Along the way, it's revealed that Alice and Eric have been struggling to start a family, though Eric remains endlessly supportive. During the drive, John notices something unusual. The fuel gauge is nearing empty, even though he clearly remembers filling up the day before. A bit puzzled but undeterred, he pulls into a nearby gas station to refuel. While John tends to the pump, Alice steps inside the station to grab a cup of coffee. Outside, fuel quietly leaks from the car, explaining the sudden drop in the tank. A towering billboard stands nearby, its faded message eerily reading, "God is nowhere." Inside the quiet convenience store, Alice heads to the counter but finds no one in sight. She places money on the counter for her coffee. And that's when she notices something deeply unsettling: streaks of blood on the walls. Before she can leave, a sharp, sudden pain hits her arm. She's been struck by a bullet. If you're enjoying the story so far, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It really helps and means a lot. Anyway, let's get back to the story. A hail of gunfire follows. Alice scrambles for cover, her cries for help drowned out by the music blaring from John's car outside. Wounded but determined, she fashions a quick makeshift tourniquet for her arm and peers cautiously outside. A sudden shot narrowly misses her, and she spots the source of danger, a sniper hidden on the billboard above. Now trapped, Alice realizes she's alone in a deadly situation, while John remains completely unaware. Her phone, lying a few meters away, seems like her only hope. But just as she reaches for it, another bullet shatters the device. Time is running out, and Alice desperately searches for options. She glances up at a security monitor and spots a possible exit door at the back. At that moment, a crackling voice breaks the silence. A walkie-talkie sits on a desk within the sniper's line of sight. Knowing it's risky, Alice quickly comes up with a plan. She grabs nearby snack packets, tosses them into the air, and when gunfire erupts, she seizes the opportunity to grab the radio. On the other end, a man responds, asking urgently about someone named Amelia. Alice pleads with him to contact the authorities. Meanwhile, outside, John notices his fuel gauge is dropping again and discovers the gas tank is leaking. Realizing Alice hasn't returned for quite some time, he heads inside the store to check on her, only to be struck in the neck by a bullet the moment he steps in. Gravely wounded, John collapses and calls out to Alice, but before she can reach him, another shot finds its mark, ending his fight. Alice, shaken but still fighting to survive, uses a mop stick to retrieve the fallen walkie-talkie. She updates the man on the other end, identifying herself and describing the situation inside the store. When he again asks about his wife, Amelia, Alice replies that no one else appears to be there. Suddenly, the man's tone changes. He reveals with a chilling laugh that he's the one responsible for the attack, and that John's fate was his doing. He coldly warns Alice that if she won't talk to him, he'll come down there himself. Scanning the room, Alice notices a bank of light switches and hatches a new plan. If she can cut the power, she might stand a better chance of escaping unnoticed. She begins throwing nearby objects toward the switches, but each attempt falls short. At that moment, Alice realizes the shelf she's hiding behind is mounted on wheels. Quietly and carefully, she begins to move it, dodging the gunfire that rains down in her direction. Managing to leap away, she quickly reaches the light controls and switches off the store's lights, plunging the place into darkness. Moments later, Alice tries reaching out over the radio, hoping to connect with someone else nearby, but each time, it's the sniper who answers. He calmly informs her that no one else is around except for him, Alice, and a woman named Amelia. It's then that Alice uncovers the grim truth. Amelia is already gone, and the sniper confesses to taking her life, claiming she had been unfaithful to him. This revelation sends a wave of fear through Alice, especially because she too has been keeping a similar secret from her husband. It makes her wonder if this is why the sniper is targeting her, or if she's simply caught up in a terrible situation at the wrong time. A while later, Alice spots a car pulling into the gas station. A man named Doug steps out, calling out as he enters the store, looking for his girlfriend, Amelia. Alice urgently warns him to stay down, explaining that a dangerous sniper is nearby. From what Doug says, it becomes clear to Alice that he is the person Amelia had been seeing in secret. Alice tells Doug to call for help, but he's left his phone in his car. She informs him about Amelia's fate, but Doug insists the sniper must be lying. Amelia was never married. As Doug approaches the counter, Alice notices something unsettling. Since Doug entered the store, there hasn't been a single shot fired. The sudden silence makes her suspicious. Could Doug be the one responsible after all? Doug denies any involvement, claiming he and Amelia worked late-night shifts, and he simply came by to see her. Alice, uncertain about whether to trust him, demands he go out to his car and bring back his phone to prove he's telling the truth. Doug hesitates, afraid of what might happen, but with Alice urging him, he finally agrees. Tragically, as Doug reaches for his phone inside the car, a shot rings out. Doug falls, and his phone is destroyed along with any hope Alice had for outside help. It becomes painfully clear that Doug had been telling the truth all along, and that the sniper is still watching. Over the radio, the sniper's voice returns, accusing Alice of sending an innocent man to his end. He claims she's responsible, calling her actions heartless. He then reveals he knows about her past and her involvement in a pharmaceutical company. According to him, Alice played a role in distributing products under false promises, harming countless lives in the process. Alice insists she's only a social media manager, not someone responsible for the company's decisions, but the sniper suggests this makes her even worse, as the face who reassures the public while ignoring the consequences. He reveals knowledge about Alice's company and accuses her of selfish ambition, claiming she betrayed people to get ahead. In a particularly painful accusation, he states that Alice once falsely accused a man of misconduct to eliminate him as a rival at work, an act that cost him his job and left him unable to care for his ailing child. As the sniper continues his bitter monologue, Alice quietly notices a collection of umbrellas near the front counter and begins to hatch a new idea. Whether or not this voice on the other end of the radio is truly Amelia's husband remains uncertain, especially since Doug had clearly insisted that Amelia wasn't married. But in this twisted, terrifying night, the truth feels harder to grasp than ever. The sniper might have been bluffing to lure Alice closer, and it seems he targeted Amelia because eliminating her allowed him to pose as her husband, seeking revenge for betrayal. It's left uncertain whether the attack on Alice was premeditated or if she simply ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. As the sniper continues to taunt Alice, she quietly arranges a row of umbrellas, hoping to use them as cover. But the sniper quickly realizes what she's doing and fires multiple shots toward the gas station. Alice narrowly makes it to the exit, only to find it locked. Determined, she searches for something to break the padlock, but has no success. A short while later, a man arrives to refuel his car, but when his car doesn't work, he leaves. The sniper spares him, revealing he only targets those who uncover his secret. Emotionally drained, Alice pleads with the sniper, explaining the struggles in her personal life, particularly her inability to start a family, which has strained her marriage. But to her shock, the sniper already knows about her private affairs. He scolds her for her choices and coldly claims the world doesn't need people like her. Just then, Alice spots a police car speeding past the station, but it doesn't stop. Seizing the brief distraction, she attempts to sneak toward John's car, with the sniper calling out for her. As she tries to get inside, another shot is fired, forcing her back into the store, this time with a wound to her leg. In agony and growing weaker, Alice manages to tend to her injury as best she can. While looking around, she comes across a uniform belonging to someone named Henry, apparently a former employee. His personal belongings, including a photo with his daughter, are still in the store. The sniper cruelly remarks that he and Alice are alike, suggesting she would pass on the same flaws to a future child. Alice firmly rejects the idea, explaining her decision not to have children was to spare them from a difficult world filled with people like him. At that moment, Alice notices a young girl, Cindy, hiding in the back seat of the couple's car, too frightened to move. Alice begs the sniper to let the child go. The sniper claims if he wanted to harm her, he would have already, then challenges Alice to see if she'd risk herself for Cindy's safety. Without hesitation, Alice agrees. The sniper gives her 2 minutes to get Cindy to safety. Alice urges the terrified girl to run toward the road, but Cindy is too scared and instead bolts into the store. With no other options, Alice barricades the door and frantically works to finish cutting through the lock. Meanwhile, the sniper climbs down from his hiding spot and makes his way toward the building. Alice finally manages to cut the lock, but is devastated to find yet another barrier behind it. Realizing there's no escape, she prepares to face him. She hides Cindy and arms herself with whatever she can find. The sniper soon enters, calling out theories about why he might be there, perhaps sent by her husband, or maybe an old colleague seeking revenge, or even a grieving father blaming her for his daughter's fate. As he moves through the store, Alice leaps from the shadows and strikes him with a metal rod. But the sniper remains standing, and a fierce struggle follows as she attempts to unmask him. Watching from a corner, Cindy witnesses the fight as a shot rings out and Alice collapses to the ground. The sniper then approaches Cindy's hiding place. As he reaches for his mask to reveal his face, Alice, drawing on the last of her strength, strikes him with a fire extinguisher. He stumbles and Alice lands another blow, immobilizing him. She drags him toward a hydraulic press, desperate to unmask him. But before she can uncover his identity, the machine crushes him, leaving his face and his story forever a mystery. Completely drained, Alice collapses, her strength gone. In her final moments, she watches Cindy, knowing she did everything she could. The next morning, the sun rises, and Cindy quietly walks down the empty road, the sole survivor of a harrowing night.